Welcome to the Free Culture Sports Show. Today we are going to be talking about some FIFA stuff, some FIFA 15, I guess, stuff, and we'll get into that a little bit. So that's a little bit of a misnomer, but we should also just very briefly talk about a few things in real life. So there was a Newcastle Manchester United game this morning that ended 0-0. I didn't see any of that. I was getting ready for my pickup game today during that. And that's why I look all gross, is because I just got back from pickup game. And but I do know that it was 0-0. And so you have some notes in here about LFC as well. So why don't you tell us a little bit about what's going on in LFC land?
Well, they play Arsenal on Monday, and then next week I'm not sure what the schedule holds the next week. But when we get up on September 12th, that is the first possible date I think that Sturridge could return. It hasn't been confirmed, so he might be ready, he might not. If he's ready, I don't know if he would start anyway. But because of the chance, people have already started talking about how does he fit into the squad. And if you assume that, you've got your goalkeeper, you've got your back four, if you assume that Milner, Henderson, and Benteke are first names on the sheet, then Rodgers has to pick only three out of Sturridge, Coutinho, Firmino, Lallana, Jordan Ibe. And I mean, teams love to have different options, but and good players off the bench. But when you still don't know what your best team is, doing it mid-season, figuring it out mid-season isn't a great idea. But Sturridge likes to play up top, and with Benteke up top, Rodgers would have to do a kind of like a 4-4-2 to get them both to be center strikers. But more likely than not, Sturridge is going to be out wide, which means that probably Lallana, as the way that Lallana's been playing, he's not going to be starting once Sturridge gets back and Firmino gets healthy. I don't know what happens to Jordan Ibe if he continues to perform. I mean, you love to have options, but at some point you got to figure things out and go with it.
So I don't know if you can hear that, Evan. Marvin is making his battle cry noises. Did that come through?
It did a little bit.
Okay. So yeah, Marvin, when he wants to play, and he's feisty in general, but he is like super, like he will jump like a madman. He's pretty old, but he's still got some hops. He's also fat, but he still has some hops. And he makes this like weird noise, which you might have just heard if you're listening, that Evan just heard. He makes it like when he wants to play, like before, but also like when he jumps, he'll like make that little battle cry noise. I don't know what that is, but I call it a battle cry. Seems like the best thing. And we have in the new apartment what I've called the danger room after the X-Men's danger room. And it's basically Marvin's. It's technically the foyer, but it's basically Marvin's play area. So he gets it's pretty big as far as foyers goes. So he gets to jump around a lot. So anyway, I guess that's just going to keep happening. He's fed, but he wants to play, and I can't really do both at the same time. So, that's also happening in real life. So were you done with LFC? I just wanted to.
Yeah, that's the biggest thing.
I think something was dying in the background or something.
Yeah, that's the biggest thing. I mean, of course, a lot will be kind of known after the Arsenal game on Monday to see kind of where this Liverpool team is so far, because their competition hasn't been stiff so far. I mean, they've won both their games 1-0, but Arsenal will be the real test.
Yeah. And that that September 12th match that you mentioned, that's the match that we are going to do at least halftime and postgame. I should be able to do pregame, but it sort of depends on I will be in Brandenburg, Kentucky, not Germany, for those interested. For that. So it just sort of depends on when I get there and when I can get set up and all that. But I should have plenty of time to make that happen. And other real life things, Celtic and Malmo, two teams that I follow in sort of like the lesser leagues, are playing in Champions League qualification. And I'm not really going to say anything else. In the show notes, we're going to have a link to the to my write-up. And the return leg is on, well, actually, I don't know if it's Tuesday or Wednesday, but it's this week. And I will also be writing up, what happens after that. So we probably won't talk about that on here other than a brief little segment like this. So the main event for the day, we're going to talk about our teams that we picked for FIFA 15, really, because you went through and made these teams. Now, it started off, we were looking at pickup teams. And I would have done a pickup team different because I wouldn't have been thinking about 18. I was filling out a roster for the FIFA selection. I definitely would, if I was just like, we were going to go out on the street and play, I would definitely have Rooney in my team, not because he's an amazing striker, because clearly he's not, but you can put him anywhere and he wants to play. He's not going to like have a sulk because, whatever. And even if he does have a sulk, that just means he's going to like kick somebody. Like he's still going to play. He's not going to just, so I like that about Rooney. So I don't know if we need to go through, each person individually. We can, if you want. One thing I want to ask you about is I noticed that you made some changes from your initial team.
I did.
Is this just in the lineup or was it in the players? I recognize the names, I think. So I think it was just a lineup.
Yeah, I just they had 3 players on the bench I switched in. I had Lewandowski originally starting, but put Aguero in instead of him. I had Alaba outside at left back, switched him for Marcelo, and I had Mario Götze at center attacking mid, and I took him off for James Rodriguez.
Yeah. So obviously you have the 2 Real Madrid players in and the 2 Bayern Munich players, 3 Bayern Munich players out, and Aguero's Man City. So why don't you walk us through why you made those changes?
Style of play with Ronaldo and Bale. I have the ability to have played with these on FIFA 15, so I know like what's working and what's not working. At least for the style that I play and gelling with the other teams. Or the rest of the team, not the other teams. Right. Those changes just seemed to be what I did. I can't, obviously at this point you can't really say that, well, one player is clearly better than the other. They're all pretty much the same in real life, pretty much the same in FIFA rankings. It's just a style of play seemed to work better. And that's why. It's not because they're Real Madrid players. That is what happened. I mean, maybe those players do play together in real life, and that has something to do with it in FIFA. The managers in real life have to be doing something well to put their team together. So that could be the only reason.
Nice. So did you end up actually playing these 2 teams against each other? I know you said that would be difficult with the way that the various modes are in FIFA now.
Well, I actually did better than that. I got these teams set, which took a while, but wasn't too bad. The hardest part was obviously they don't do trades; they just do transfers. So you just move one player from one team to another. With me having a lot of Real Madrid players, I put all of mine on Real Madrid, and you having a lot of Barcelona players, I put yours on Barcelona, which added to it as well. But it didn't take as long as I thought it would, and I did run like one simulation, I think, of them playing each other, and it was like 0-0 or something like uneventful. It had been 1-1. I guess the defenses are too good. I don't know.
Yeah, everybody should check out the show notes, but I'm playing 3 in the back, so it's pretty, and not not a defensive midfield. I'm playing Ribéry, Iniesta, Modric, and Robin in my midfield.
Well, I think what happened, if I can remember, it's been a while since this happened, but I think that your team had the majority of the possession, at least in the middle and attacking third, and my team was just very good defensively. So I couldn't really get the ball out as much as I wanted to. Your midfield seemed to kind of control better than mine.
Well, I had an extra man in the midfield, so
and that could have been it. I don't know, but you couldn't attack very well or finish. You didn't get a lot of finishing chances, and my team didn't get a lot of great finishing chances. So I think it was 0-0. I could go do it again, but what I've done is, since they were already on, Barcelona and Real Madrid, I just took the teams into career mode, and I've been playing with this team in Real Madrid, obviously winning a majority of the games. I think I've 22 games in, and I've drawn 2 and won the rest. But here's
what level do you play at?
Professional right now. I thought I was at world class at first because it was kind of difficult at the beginning because I hadn't played with a lot of the players, and I was like, maybe it's still on world class. And then I looked and I was like, nope, I just suck apparently right now. So, but here's the interesting thing. Of course, you go through the season, you have transfer window. I blocked the first transfer window from happening, which you can do in FIFA 15. But
you can do that in 14 as well.
I'm sure you can do that in 16, which is coming out. But
well, sometimes they take things away. So
yeah, I don't know. That's just silly. They shouldn't take that away.
What's your? I mean, I guess in this case, you want the teams to stay the same. But
yes.
I've never done that before.
That was the main reason. Was I didn't want. I could only control Madrid. I didn't want any of your team actually transferring out before the season started.
Good call.
One thing though is that, of course, when you have these teams in career mode, you have more than just 18. So I had to pick and choose like who I sent out to other teams and who I kept. And I tried to be a little bit fair on not keeping like everybody. Like I got rid of Benzema and some of the defenders, but I kept like Isco and Iker Casillas on Real Madrid, and I don't remember who I left with Barcelona. But the most interesting thing of the whole career mode so far was that Ronaldo said that he got homesick and wanted to leave. And in 15 and probably in 14 is that there's certain times when you can't control it, and the board says we got to get rid of this guy, and they sell it without you even realizing it. And then they're like, oh, yeah, we sold this guy. And you're like, oh, that's great. I knew that.
Did they not give you any warning? Or
well, like they give you some kind of warning, like, oh, there's rumors that he's unsettled. And then some players,
that's the way it works in 14.
Some players will email you saying, like, look, this is what's going on. And then eventually they're like, I want to go. Or the board says, look, this guy's saying bad things about the club. We want him gone. And so guess where he went? To Barcelona.
Because that's where he's from.
Yeah, I was like, in the description, it said he was homesick. And I was like, so what is he going to do? Is he going to go to, like, Benfica or Porto? Like,
well, I mean, he could go to Manchester. I mean, that's not his home, but it's more his home than Barcelona is, that's for sure.
I don't know. So he went to Barcelona, and I retaliated by signing Suarez and Neymar. Which is ironic, because, or not ironic. I mean, it is ironic, but based on the statistics and everything in the that you can look at, it looked like Barcelona was playing Müller over Suarez. I don't know why they would do that, but that's what it appeared to be. I don't even think Messi had great statistics. They were definitely playing Ibrahimovic and maybe Müller too. I don't know. They just weren't playing Suarez. It still cost me a butt ton, but being Real Madrid and having money from Ronaldo, I made it happen.
Yeah.
So now my lineup looks completely different than how we even started this.
So are you still into the career mode? Because I cheated on my last one. The career mode lasts so long, and I finally figured out that the settings, I don't remember which number it was, but at one point, if you like changed the difficulty level, then you didn't get one of their point systems. You didn't get points. The FIFA points, not the in-game points.
Yeah.
So I never really messed with all of the settings, and I don't know if this was still the case in 14 or not. Maybe you get points even if you do downgrade the difficulty. But what you could do is you could keep the difficulty level the same, but then change all the detailed things. So you could make the other team super slow and make your team super fast and all that. And I was like, I don't remember at what point it going through I want to do this, but I was like, I just want to get to my 15 years and see where my team is at. Like, I don't actually want to play any of these games. So what I would do is I would just like be doing work, and then I would score some goals, and then I would like go check on it and make sure the ball wasn't just like out of bounds. And then, so I would just make sure that I won all of my cup games and stuff that way. And I mean, I don't really know if I'll do that. It's fun to play with like your players like on your team. But the thing is that they're going to leave. It's just like real life in some respects, because those players are not necessarily going to be there, like Sterling and Gerrard. They're no longer on Liverpool. And I'm sure there are others, but those are the two big ones. So, and like Di Maria, no longer at Manchester United. So,
well, that is interesting. I usually get burnt out after maybe 2 or 3 seasons, really. So I don't see a whole lot of change outside of maybe like the first summer when I make a lot of, like, oh, I want this guy, or, I'm switching to a 3-back instead of a 4-back. So let me get players that are better suited to that than the ones that I have. So I do get a little bit burnt out from it. And that's why I started doing this instead of staying with Liverpool. So I know that there are people out there who, they, especially in England or somewhere, they'll take their local team and play with them, and we'll go 15 seasons and just enjoy seeing, Birmingham winning the Champions League for 14 years, like they just, because that's their team, they just enjoy seeing that over and over and over again.
Well, I play with Malmo, so it's the same sort of thing, that's never going to happen in real life. So, unless world financial markets completely, change themselves. I mean, there's 9 million people in Sweden. It's never going to be a big league.
So I mean, I think most of the fans do Ultimate Team. Just because that's where all the online players are, and that's where you really have to you try to best your team as much as possible by buying others, and it's a lot harder to get maybe your perfect team in Ultimate Team than it is in career mode.
What's your thought on the new pricing system? To me, it seems like a good idea.
What do you mean? I'm sorry.
So they in 15 they instituted, like in February or something. I'm not exactly sure when, but like they instituted the maxes, and I think they have minimums as well.
I think they have minimums. I'm not sure. It's a great idea from one standpoint, and that is that you don't get the transfer window, whatever they call it. You don't get it full of people wanting, 90 million for some bronze player. It's good in that respect. It's also good in the respect that a lot of informed players. I think I only have like one informed. I've only ever had like one informed player, and that he was maxed. So all of them might be maxed in some respect, which is good for if somebody's selling an informed player, instead of it being like 200,000. They can only max it at maybe 100,000 and make it more realistic that you buy it. I didn't actually look to see what the rationale was, but I could see that being the rationale. And why not? I mean, I think it's a little bit odd, like how do they say, well, this player's worth a maximum of this?
Yeah, I know that they based it on previous data. So a lot of the players are the same between 14 and 15,
Mm-hmm.
Older ones. But the ratings change, for one thing, and there are new players. So I don't know in 10 years what they're going to do, because most of the players, either their number will have significantly changed, either up or down,
Mm-hmm.
or they just won't exist as far as professional football player. So there's not going to be any data. So, but they could still base it on like, this team, if you're an 89 and you play for Real Madrid, this is the historical prices for that type of player, and from this country. I mean, but some of them are going to be, like, when is there going to be another Portuguese player that's as good as Ronaldo playing for Real Madrid? I mean, I'm sure at some point that will happen again, but it won't be soon. Mm-hmm. So, Portugal is just not a big enough country to have players like that coming out.
Well, and it depends on how you build your team. Nobody's building it based on Portugal. So I think that, well, I won't say nobody, but most.
But they might be getting Real Madrid players.
Right, and so the Portugal aspect of it, I don't think would factor in, but the Real Madrid La Liga part would. But I don't know.
I think it has to. I think it has to, because he would be more valuable if he played for Argentina, for example.
That's
because then
true.
You could get a lot of Argentine players. That's or if he played for Germany.
That's true, but I feel like, at least when I started playing Ultimate Team back in FIFA 13, FIFA 12, somewhere in there, it was a lot harder to get your chemistry up. Where in FIFA 15, you can get pretty good chemistry and it not matter. I mean, if they're both from La Liga and they're both then you can still get it based on two things: the manager and what they have now is loyalty. I don't think they had manager. They might have had manager, but they didn't have loyalty in FIFA 14.
Yeah, they do have. They have. It may not be as strong in 15, but they definitely have loyalty. So the way you get loyalty in 14 is I think it's 10 games. But it's some number of games.
15 too. I just didn't think they had that in 14.
They do. Yeah. So
I don't know. Maybe the increase is more, but I feel like it's just a lot easier to get good chemistry.
Yeah, but the thing is that some of the tournaments require people to be from certain nations and stuff like that. So, I mean, I'm not saying that is the biggest factor. I think obviously the Real Madrid. Well, obviously the fact that he's Cristiano Ronaldo is the biggest factor. but then Real Madrid. Then I think that he gets some degree, and maybe at the highest level it doesn't matter. Maybe at the next level down where it starts to matter. I mean, I don't know, what that. Let's just take Schweinsteiger.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he's up towards the top, but I don't know what his rating is in 15 if they decreased him, because
I feel like he's like an 88.
Okay, that's what he is in 14. So, maybe that's too high for it to matter too. I'm not sure. So like Modric, I think he's at 87 in 15. He's at 85 in 14. Maybe at like the Modric level, the fact that he's Croatian, I think he's Croatian. He's Croatian, right? I'm not certain.
Yes.
I'm pretty okay. Anyway, sorry to if that's not right. Croats and the Serbs out there. Sorry about that. But anyway, not a lot of people are building their team around that. So, and he's not the very highest level, a player. So, maybe that's where it starts to come into play. So I think if Modric were from an Argentina or a Germany, then his value goes up. I think that's definitely true. But Ronaldo, maybe not. Maybe it doesn't matter.
I think so, but I don't think I feel like it's based more off historical prices than anything else. And maybe
right. But I'm saying that.
But if he's from like Germany, then historically people are going to buy him more, and therefore his price would go up anyway. So I don't know if it's based on the player and where they're from and who they play for. I think that determines the market, and then they determine the max and min based off the market.
I don't know. We're saying the same thing. I'm saying that.
I thought you were implying that where the player from determines the min and the max.
Yeah, well, just because that market value is higher. Somebody from Argentina is worth more than somebody from Croatia in the scenario of FIFA land where that matters. I mean, in the real world, I don't think that matters. I mean, the language that they speak, you might be more likely to bring someone who speaks Spanish into La Liga. But at a club like Real Madrid, the biggest clubs, I don't know that matters. But, maybe even just like at some place like Atletico, maybe that makes a difference. It's hard to say.
But, well, what I've seen from people who at least that I've seen online, it seems like they just base their teams off of speed, which is usually the biggest thing to win a game, especially once you get up to player versus player and the defenses get all out of whack. People are just running around. It's
I'm
crazy.
So bad at defense, and so
so is everybody else who plays FIFA because they only care about scoring goals and I
try to play defense and I'm just bad. I used to play 5 in the back to compensate for this, and
I can do it against the computer mostly, but
because the computer you
basically know what they're going to do.
Yeah.
After a while, after you've played for so long, I mean, they're going to do basically the same thing. Yeah. But human people are like, we're just going to go crazy and have no idea what's going on. And then if you're dribbling the ball up, half the time that you're playing online, the other player is going to take their defender and run straight at you, which is not typical to real life. It's not what the computer does. It's like, oh, crap, I wasn't aware of this. And as soon as it's too late, it is so hectic. So it's like, okay, let's just get the fastest players out there so that if we lose the ball, we can run back and get in front of them and take it back. Yeah. I mean, it's all about speed, I feel like. And that's why Schweinsteiger, who's like an 88, should require a lot more to get, and Lewandowski too. But since their speed isn't that great, their market isn't that great, and therefore you can get them a lot easier.
Yeah, so I like Schweinsteiger, so I play with him so there's a whole series for people that are watching the video that don't pay attention to the site. There's a whole series of me every month going through my foot team. And my defense, I really like Schweinsteiger in there because he gives me defensive solidity. In front of my back four, and I used to play with back 3, but I've moved to a back 4 because my defense was just so bad. And like I said, I played with back 5 at certain times, but anyway, so yeah, I really like Schweinsteiger in there because I'm pairing him with Xavi, who gives me 0 defensive cover. So. And Iniesta is on my bench because he's a attacking midfielder. So, put him in the CM spot hurts my chemistry. But I've been feeling like this for the last couple of months. I've been feeling like I've hit a wall and what I can do with my foot team. I'm at tournament levels where I don't know if I'm ever going to be able to beat them. Mm. I think I can probably manage not to get relegated, but moving on, is going to be pretty tough and hard. It's getting hard too on FIFA 14 for not in the league, but in the tournaments. So in the bronze, silver, whatever tournaments to actually find people to play against.
Yeah.
So I don't know when I'm going to hang it up on that, but it's, I'm sort of, my experiment is sort of to see how far I can take it without actually paying money. Because people say, like, basically you have to, like, pay them to be good. And that's slowly the conclusion that I'm drawing. I mean,
to get like what, and that's why I think some of the caps came in too, is to get like a Ronaldo or somebody. I won't say Ronaldo because I've never even really tried, but to get some of these players who are quick, like a Marco Reus, it's just like, why? I mean, he's only like an 86, which is one, pretty good left midfielder, left winger, not the greatest, but he's really fast. And like, he just cost a whole lot to get him only because of speed. I wonder.
And Dortmund is sort of a hipster team that people like.
Yeah, German and the speed, I would say. I have a lot of Dortmund players on mine, or I did back in the day. So I mean, they're good, and he's good, but he's just like, it's not really worth it. And then as soon as I get him, I just have to play a whole lot, and then I'm spending money on contracts, and it's just so much easier if you get a lot of coin quickly, and get your team set up immediately, and basically pick and choose who you want.
Yeah, and that's another thing that I started playing in late December of 2013, I guess, and so I was sort of behind the curve. I missed all those early tournaments where I could have gotten coins. And in previous years, they let you use the web app even if you hadn't logged in to the game. But for 14, so like I was able to get all the like web app prizes and stuff for FIFA 13, and that was all hunky-dory, before I had logged in. But for 14, you couldn't do that. So, I tried when the switchover happened. I was like, all right, new web app. Let's get some prizes. But I couldn't do it. So, what you gonna do?
Yeah, so, and I don't even know if the web app works anymore for 15. It didn't last. I tried.
It was always kind of buggy.
Yeah, so I don't know if they like just scratched it or not. But what they did do with starting with 15, and I'm doing the same thing with 16, is you can pay 10 extra bucks to like get the premium version of the game and get a gold pack each week. And I mean, if you don't get it a week, you can't. It doesn't stack, so you have to log in each week and get it. And it's a lot of gold players and contracts and everything, so you don't have to spend as much coin to get more contracts. Right. You can sell some of the players and get coin back from that too. So I don't remember ever getting like a great player from it. It may be set up so that you can't from that, so that it's like, oh, you paid for this and they like basically gave you Messi. Like, that's not fair. I mean, maybe it is fair because you paid for it, but that's what I ended up doing, and it helped for 15, and it'll probably help for 16 too.
Yeah. So do they have the thing where the cards that you can't trade at all?
Yes.
So I have like a Di Maria card and some other cards, but that I can't sell. I don't want it, but I can't sell it. So
yeah, there's usually things that you get or they give everybody you can't sell, just because they're like, well, everybody has this, so why you don't need to sell it on the transfer market, and therefore it has no value. I guess I don't know, but I kind of assumed that when they gave people the free
gold packs, that the gold packs were different. I don't think everybody has a Di Maria card, but maybe I'm wrong.
I don't know how fair they want to keep it. Like, let's say I spent, again, this is for 15 or for 16 coming out. Let's say, me and Joe down the street both got the premium pack in the first week. We got our first gold pack, and he got Messi or Ronaldo, and I didn't even get like a rare player. And then I'm screaming, well, I did the same thing, paid for the same thing that Joe got. And that just doesn't seem fair. And then FIFA can just say, well, it was just luck of the draw. But then people, I don't know. I feel like that then deters people from spending the 10 extra bucks to get the gold pack each week, because they're like, I'll just get gold packs anyway. And if I'm not going to get anything special from it, it's just luck of the draw. Then I don't know if how much thought FIFA actually put into it. I assume that they are different, but they might have like a group of players or cards that they all come from, so that nobody gets extremely rare players from it. I don't know. I would like to know more about that, especially after doing, already putting down money for when 16 comes out, to see if it is different or how different it is. I'd like to know if people got rare players, or how the best player they might have got from a free gold pack from doing that would be.
So this is totally changing the subject. I saw today when I was at Gillette Stadium, or not Gillette, Jetler Stadium, which is the UC soccer stadium, and they had something up there about like being able to see all the games for free or something. I couldn't quite figure out what was going on, so I've been sort of like trying to poke around on the site here. But I noticed they play Bowling Green today. Oh, I just figured out why. It's an exhibition. I was like, all the other games, you can watch them online. Like they play Northern Kentucky, or all the home games you can watch online. Northern Kentucky, Valparaiso, Virginia Tech, etc. But today, the game today, you can't watch, but it's an exhibition game. So, and I don't know if they're just not the away games, if they're just not set up for watching. But like they don't have a watch link for any of the away games. So,
well, if they've got their own television crew, they're not going to travel to an away game.
Well, but you would think that they could, like, if the other team has it linked, they could just link to it. I mean, that's what DC United does. They're like, we're playing an open cup.
You're talking about a university, which is slightly different because they don't have.
True.
Each university now basically has its own television deal. Or that's what it seems like to me, at least the major ones, where like I can sign up for, Chapel Hill Live Sports. I don't know if they do away games or not, because I'm not paying for it. But then you get into a weird deal, like say a team from outside the ACC, or even a team in the ACC, like is playing. Let's say UNC goes to Duke, and Duke has their own online service for showing the Duke game, and UNC has their own online service for showing it when it's at UNC. If you pay for the UNC feed, UNC would then the UNC program would then have to say, "Hey, Duke feed, can we show our viewers this?"
Yeah. So I guess the thing is with I don't know about I'm trying to figure this out on Bearcats TV, but with the DC United stuff, like the live stuff online, it's free. It's there for when like it's not on TV, basically. So, and I guess it's almost always Open Cup games, and the USL, the NASL has a deal with ESPN, but the USL, they just put, I think, all of their games up on YouTube.
I think so too. I saw.
They do this, but it's like pointed at a soccer match.
Yeah. But I think they have commentators, don't they?
Yeah, so they have like somebody who's hooked into the computer.
Yeah. So it's not. You're not just watching a game with no commentary.
it's when I had one of the satellites, or DirecTV is the one I had. I got the Europa League matches, maybe Champions League too, but definitely the Europa League matches. All of them that weren't on like a channel.
Mm-hmm.
I got the UEFA feed, just the like straight TV feed, and so you would get the ambient noise of the crowd and everything, but there were no commentators. It was like literally the camera feed. And it was amazing. The only thing that was bad about it, though, is you also, like, you didn't get graphics or anything. So if you didn't know what the score was or who the teams were, well, I guess it would say when you, like, clicked on it, like, who the teams were. But, like, on the screen itself, it was literally nothing on the screen except the soccer match. That was it. But it was pretty cool.
Yeah. I mean, that's some of these things on YouTube. I feel like they're sometimes like that, but often they get at least a graphic of the score.
Yeah, I mean, it's not hard to do with YouTube or something like that. But I don't know how they worked it out, the deal with UEFA to do that, and they don't just do it for, like, I don't know which tennis tournaments, I can't remember, but some of the tennis tournaments you would get every court and you could like watch whatever court you wanted to. So again, if like it was on a channel you didn't get, so you would get a panel of things where you could pick. But if like, Nadal Federer was on the tennis channel, I don't think I got the tennis channel. I don't really remember. But anyway, if it was on the tennis channel and I didn't get it, I wouldn't get to see that. But I would get to see everything else. So it's pretty cool, but we don't have satellite right now for a variety of reasons. But hopefully we'll get it back one day. So, well, as I mentioned earlier, I am gross, so I should probably go get a post-game shower on. Was there anything else that you wanted to mention, either about FIFA or any of the other things that we talked about before we call it a day here?
Well, I know that FIFA 16 is coming out sometime in September because they wait until the transfer window is set. So you mentioned when you were done with FIFA 14, when do you think that you would move up? And that could mean, even eventually, I don't know where you're at with this, but they're still on a PS3.
Yeah.
Moving up another system.
I think it's my next purchase, actually. I'm not going to buy another. Well, we'll see how it goes. But I feel like buying a PS4 makes more sense than buying another game for the PS3.
Well, let me ask you this: do you know if now with the PS4 that it costs you to play online?
That I don't know.
Because I think that
is that what it is with Xbox?
I think it's a little bit cheaper for PlayStation, but not like a whole lot. And I just happened to come up on something that said like it was $49.99 for 12 months for PlayStation. But I don't know if that was accurate at all or not. There's a lot of articles that are in the past will you have to pay. So I don't know if they actually have it or not because I don't play PlayStation.
I was briefly looking this up, but this question is on GameSpot.com: is PS4 online free or the opposite? I think like the yes and the no take care of that situation. There's not an in between. It's either free or it's not. So I mean, I guess it could be free sometimes and not other times, but that would be weird.
Well, they do that. They do that on Xbox too, to kind of like entice you to be like, "Oh wow, this was awesome. You should pay for this." It's the PlayStation Plus is what it's called, and I don't know if that's necessary to play online now. And I can't. I'm just googling random things on the PlayStation Network trying to figure it out. But
well, I'll find it out, and we can talk about it on the next time.
Okay.
Which actually, the next time, so we're going to take a couple weeks off, more than a couple weeks. No, just a couple weeks. No, it is going to be more than a couple weeks. We're going to take, we'll be back in 3 weeks, basically. So September 12th. You know, the days are all, like, they're not 28 days long. If the months were 28 days long, it would make the math much simpler.
Oh, it would.
But it doesn't. They're not. So anyway, until September 12th, when we're bringing you the Manchester United Liverpool match. I don't know where it's at. You know where it's at on top of your head?
No, I do not. I think it's at Old Trafford, but
wherever the game is at, I will be in Brandenburg and Evan will be in Shelby, and we will be bringing you our thoughts. Like I said earlier, at least at halftime and post-game, probably pre-game as well. But for now, thanks for watching the Free Culture Sports Show.